Women, Race, and Class. This is a great book by Angela Davis. We're going to take a look at the section about Lucy Parsons. Lucy Parsons remains one of those few black women whose name has occasionally appeared in the chronicles of the U.S. labor movement. Almost universally, however, she is simplistically identified as the devoted wife of the Haymarket martyr Albert Parsons. To be sure, Lucy Parsons was one of her husband's most militant defenders, but she was far more than a faithful wife and angry widow who wanted to defend and avenge her husband. As Carolyn Daspaw's recent biography confirms, her journalistic and agitational defense of the working class as a whole spanned a period of more than 60 years. Lucy Parsons' involvement in the labor struggles began almost a decade before the Haymarket Massacre and continued for another 55 years afterwards. Her political development ranged from her youthful advocacy of anarchism to her membership in the Communist Party during her mature years. Born in 1853, Lucy Parsons became active in the Socialist Labor Party as early as 1877. Over the years to come, this anarchist organization's newspaper, The Socialist, would publish her articles and poems, and Parsons would also become an active organizer for the Chicago Working Women's Union. Following the police-instigated riot on May 1st, 1886 in Chicago's Haymarket Square, her husband was one of 8 radical labor leaders arrested by the authorities. Lucy Parsons immediately initiated a militant campaign to free the Haymarket defendants. As she traveled throughout the country, she became known as a prominent labor leader and leading advocate for anarchism. Her reputation caused her to become an all too frequent target of repression. In Columbus, Ohio, for example, the mayor banned a speech she was scheduled to deliver during the month of March, and her refusal to respect this banning order led the police to throw her in jail in city after city. Halls were closed to her at the last moment. Detectives stood in every corner of the meeting halls. Police kept her under constant surveillance. Even as her husband was being Lucy Parsons and her 2 children were arrested by Chicago police, one of whom made the comment, "That woman is more to be feared than 1,000 rioters." Although she was black, a fact miscegnation laws often caused her to conceal, and although she was a woman, Lucy Parsons argued that racism and sexism were overshadowed by the capitalists' overall exploitation of the working class. Since they were victims of capitalist exploitation, said Parsons, black people and women, no less than white people and men, should devote all their energies to the class struggle. In her eyes, black people and women did not suffer special forms of oppression, and there was no real need for mass movements to oppose racism and sexism explicitly. Sex and race, according to Lucy Parsons' theory, were facts of existence manipulated by employers who sought to justify their greater exploitation of women and people of color. If black people suffered the brutality of lynch law, it was because their poverty as a group made them the most vulnerable workers of all. Are there any so stupid, asked Parsons in 1886, as to believe these outrages have been heaped upon the Negro because he is black? Not at all. It is because he is poor. It is because he is dependent, because he is poorer as a class than his white wage slave brothers of the North. Lucy Parsons and Mother Mary Jones were the first 2 women to join the radical labor organization known as the International Workers of the World. Highly respected in the labor movement, both were invited to sit in the Presidium alongside Eugene Debs and Big Bill Haywood during the 1905 founding convention of the IWW. In the speech Lucy Parsons delivered to the convention delegates, she revealed her special sensitivity to the oppression of working women who, in her view, were manipulated by the capitalists as they sought to reduce the wages of the entire working class. We, the women of this country, have no ballot even if we wish to use it, but we have our labor. Wherever wages are to be reduced, the capitalist class uses women to reduce them. Moreover, during this era when the plight of prostitutes was virtually ignored, Parsons told the IWW convention that she also spoke for my sisters whom I can see in the night when I go out in Chicago. During the 1920s, Lucy Parsons began to associate herself with the struggles of the young Communist Party. One of the many people who was deeply impressed by the 1917 workers' revolution in Russia, she became confident that eventually the working class could triumph in the United States of America. When communists and other progressive forces founded the International Labor Defense in 1925, Parsons became an active worker for the new group. She fought for the freedom of Tom Mooney in California, for the Scottsboro Nine in Alabama, and for the young black communist Angelo Herndon, whom Georgia authorities had imprisoned. It was in 1939, according to her biographer's research, that Lucy Parsons formally joined the Communist Party. When she, in 1942, a tribute to the Daily Worker described her as a link between the labor movement of the present and great historic events of the 1880s. She was one of America's truly great women, fearless and devoted to the working class. Definitely pick this book up if you get a chance. Solidarity, comrades.